On Friday, January the 6th, I received a phone call. There was a gaur in the Ural Mountains that had been injured. The gaur had been found by a group of freelance guides. This was an emergency. I called our vet, Chendar, and some members of the Wildlife Rapid Rescue Team, took a helicopter and flew to Ural. Miraculously, they found the gaur. She was a young female, a calf, much smaller than we'd expected. She'd been snared and she was badly injured. When the guys got there, she was so weak she was actually unconscious. She'd freed herself from the snare and staggered on through the forest, but without her mother's care and her mother's milk. Obviously she grew weaker and weaker, and by this time she was barely alive. There's no roads to this area. They carried her down the hillside overnight, in the dark, down the forested hillside, in a hammock. When they got to the road, there was a truck waiting for them, and they drove her to Nom Tomau, arriving at Nom Tomau at 6 a.m. on Saturday morning. At Nom Tomau, of course, she could receive fluids, medicine, and care. And our keepers there that are in work at the baby nursery, they were syringing milk into her mouth. We have a lot of experience of these situations, particularly with snared animals, and especially with babies. These situations, they're really hopeless. However, on Sunday morning when I arrived at Nom Tomau, things seemed much better. She was sitting up, looked much happier. We were actually more hopeful. Sadly, the improvement didn't last. And 7 p.m. on Sunday evening, the little gaur convulsed and sadly died. She'd been too long without her mother's protection and her mother's care, and of course her mother's milk. This situation, this incident, follows a similar situation that took place in June 2021. In almost exactly the same location, we received another phone call about another gaur, also snared. We found the gaur, we located the gaur. She too was immobile at the time, and a young adult female. We treated her with fluids and medicines, and within 2 hours she too had died. Snares are the scourge of the forest. They will kill every animal walking the land. They wipe out all the life in the forest. We must alert the world that snares are causing so much damage. And Wildlife Alliance is mounting yet another campaign to try and create greater awareness about the damage that snares do to all wildlife. Please support us in our campaign. Thank you all so much for listening.